Hey you guys, it's MJ from All to Love. How are you? This video is specifically for one of you who has gotten in touch with me personally and asked me about death and what is death or what happens after we die. And deep within me, there's a knowing that life as we know it, the experience of existence is eternal, which means our sense of aliveness basically is eternal. Death is simply a cycle completed. So to me, death is representative of a release, that we actually release the body, the physical vessel. Um, Another aspect of your question was whether we join our loved ones, and I I believe that's a choice. I believe that whatever your consciousness is projecting into your life after death, that our journey continues. So if there are beings that we desire to meet on the other side, they'll be there. And ultimately, they're in our consciousness always, no matter what. So I've spoken of this even when it comes to like heartbreak and breakups. It's that we must quite deeply in our beingness know that we are one and that all relationships are eternal and they all serve to assist us and help us grow and learn about ourself, because they're the self in a different form. They're a different aspect of the same self, right? So it's sort of a weird one, right? To wrap our heads around when we're breaking free from the 3D construct of reality, which is a reality based on the illusion of separation, which means that there's no connection and everything is separate from each other. And obviously, from this perspective, death is like super fearful, right? Because people disappear and then we're just going to disappear one day. And you can imagine why that feels so uncomfortable is because it's so radically opposed to the truth. When we can sit and meditate, and when we can begin to calm the mind. So I have to recommend that as a practice, that meditation, prayer, connecting to the physical body in a non-judgmental way, right? Like in a non-talky way, just being with the body. Um, and like ultimately loving the body and doing that work, that connection is really what helps us to feel into the peace within us, the rest in peace state. And that's the idea of a metaphysical, spiritual understanding of the pose Shavasana in yoga. I talk about this in the Fearless Life Guide. But we're here as beings, part of our spiritual evolution, our growth is to die to the illusion. We sort of have to look at the world of fear and terror and die to it, let it go. Let the grip of fear from within your being go, which basically just means vocalizing, like, I'm going to let you go. I see you and I release you. It also means breathing through emotion. So if you're experiencing anxiety around death or you're experiencing confusion, fear around this idea of death, sink into it rather than going round and round in circles about what if or what's going to happen. Who do I get to see? That instead of going around in thought, drop into like, just how do you feel about it? How do you feel connected to your own aliveness? Because our aliveness is really just a polarity of what we think is death. It's just a recycling, as how I see it. We're simply shedding one skin to move into, well, ultimately in this form, it's greater light. But how we evolve as humans is also sort of dictating what people call the reincarnation grid, or how we choose to reincarnate or make manifest in cycles in our bodies again. So depending on your perspective, you could also look at it like that. Like people say soul families or soul tribes, and um, some of us don't actually have that many soul connections on this planet, or we do, but they're kind of quite scattered around, simply because of our soul's journey, and I want to say the sovereignty of our soul. So there are souls who work in more in congregation, and there are souls who work as leaders. Obviously, for some reason, this is relevant, and I'm just hearing that. And those souls are sovereign in their path of discovery, where their aloneness, or like sovereignty, is designed to look into different areas versus the collectives, the soul groupings, right? And the soul groupings have a power in numbers, and yet those souls very much learn from the feedback of one another, versus I guess, the wanderers, or um the more sovereign souls that are, I guess, greater, not greater, just here to teach and here to lead. And their groupings have more to do with aligning with the other teachers and way showers and stuff. And again, from that perspective, we're all unified divine creators. So really, hierarchy in that regard dissolves in an enslavement structure. And we just rise into greater unity. See, now I've gone off into my classic tangent. Anywho, I truly, truly believe that life is eternal. Death is an illusion to a certain degree, because the soul that exists, the beingness and the uniqueness that we are, continues everlasting, as does the essence and the beingness of all beings that we've ever encountered. So know that all relationships are eternal, and the essence of your own nature, your own signature frequency, that is completely unique, that is eternal as well. And that eternity is what allows us to make manifest in form. So yeah, you keep coming back as long as you want to, and yeah, just continue the fun game of infinity exploration. I hope that was useful to you. I hope it brought you some calm around the idea of death. Of course, if you want to reach out, if you want a private, I call them perspective calls. You could say coaching calls, but if you want to call, let me know and we'll hook that up for you. Anywho, lots of love, you guys. I'll speak to you real soon. Take care.